Laura H. Chapman's contributions to art education. Laura H. Chapman was born on April 24th, 1935, and died August 17th, 2021. She taught in the Florida public schools as well as worked at Indiana University, University of Illinois, Ohio State University, and the University of Cincinnati. She received her Bachelor of Science from Florida State University, Master of Arts from New York University, and her Doctorate of Philosophy from Ohio State University. Chapman was deeply invested in art education and made contributions to art education through her critiques on policies, such as No Child Left Behind, and her publications. Laura H. Chapman has contributed to art education practices through many publications, such as Approaches to Art in Art Education, Instant Art, Instant Culture, The Unspoken Policy for American Schools, A World of Images, and No Child Left Behind in Art, to name a few. In memory of Laura H. Chapman, Henneman quotes Marilyn Stewart's letter presented to NAEA at the Elliott W. Eisner Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018. In the letter, Stewart highlights the work and publications of Chapman and how her ideas and framework for art curriculum has become a standard use for many art teachers. Zimmerman praises the work of Chapman in her review Chapman Approaches to Art Ed. Zimmerman discusses how in Approaches to Art and Art Education that Chapman creates a framework for art educators to use to create their curriculum, and that framework is based upon student learnings about basic art concepts, understanding the artistic process, perceiving and responding to visual forms, and understanding the role of art in contemporary society. Chapman provides the value art education has on society and what is important to teach in our classrooms. Chapman's publications have served as a valuable guide and resource for art teachers over the years, giving useful instructional practices. Chapman also made an impact on art education through her ideas and reviews on policy. One major policy that she critiqued was No Child Left Behind. In her review, No Child Left Behind in Art, Chapman explains her thoughts and concerns about how No Child Left Behind could have negative effects on art education. Chapman discusses how mandated tests will take up more time for instruction, and subjects like art will either be minimized or cut altogether. She also mentions how art could turn into an extra activity that is used as a reward and then in turn devalued and just thought as an activity to be earned. Chapman urges in her review that art should not be seen as an extra activity, but an integral part of a child's education. She states that if the arts and humanities become the lost curriculum, substantive achievement gaps will be widened and inequalities in opportunity to learn will be exacerbated. Chapman ends her review by telling art educators to be aware of the negative effects of these policies and resist them where they can. Chapman has always been an advocate for the arts and holds the arts in high regard. In her article, A Second Look at Foundation for Art Education, she gives the vocabulary and the defense for the value of art education in schools. She points out that art should hold its own value and not be limited to creating functional objects or helping teach other subjects. She also looks at the purpose of art education and gives justification for teaching technique as well as expression. Chapman states that art educators do not need to choose between one or the other, but that skills must be introduced in the immediate context of their use, and free expression does not challenge growth if it does not entail personal and social responsibility. Ideas around skills and creative expression have long been discussed in art education history, and Chapman gives us the tools to utilize both. Laura H. Chapman has provided multiple resources for art educators over the years and has always stood up for the arts in her reviews and critiques. She gave art educators a framework for curriculum building and the defense for why art education holds great importance in a child's core curriculum. Her publications are still used and referenced by educators today in 2022.